Hey, it's Ramsey Dewey over here in Shanghai, China. Today we have a question from our friend Drathan who says, how do I forgive myself instead of dwelling on my mistakes? Thanks. All right, the word forgive, I think, is a very misunderstood word in the English language. And I'm not talking about forgive or forgiveness from a religious, dogmatic context. I'm talking about it from a purely linguistic context. Look up that word. Look it up. Look it up in the Oxford English Dictionary. Look it up in Webster's Dictionary. Look it up on Wikipedia. What do those definitions say? Forgiveness is not excusing bad behavior. Forgiveness is a willingness to let go of negative feelings that hold you back. Forgiveness is personal to you. Again, it has nothing to do with excusing bad behavior. So, you've done some things in the past that you regret. Forgiving yourself is not saying, hey, it's okay that I did those things. Just like forgiving somebody who did something horrible to you is not saying, hey, it's okay that you did those horrible things. Horrible things are just fine. No. We're not excusing bad behavior. We are releasing ourselves from the captivity of the negativity that holds us back. So you have to ask yourself, who am I now as opposed to back then? Every 7 to 10 years or so, physically we're a different person. On a cellular level, on a molecular level, we are made out of completely different stuff than we were back then. But how about here and here, in our minds, in our hearts, in our souls? Are you the same person you were back then? If so, fix it. Change. You clearly sound like you know what to do. You know how you need to change. And if you have already changed, ask yourself this simple question. If I could do it again, if I could go back in time and have the option to do it again, would I make those same choices? And if the answer is no, I would not make those same bad decisions. If I had the opportunity to go back and do it again, then good. Forgive yourself and move on. Because now you're a new person who won't make those decisions again. Instead, you'll make better ones. So forgive yourself, release yourself of that burden. And if that's still not working, then y'all need Jesus. Because in this world, as we try to save ourselves, we may find ourselves drowning. We will find ourselves drowning, my friends. So seek to a higher power. I'm sticking to it. Next question. Carlo wants to know, if I could choose a superpower, what would it be and why? Man, I had this conversation with my 8-year-old daughter the other day, and I didn't know what to say. We ran the gamut of various superpowers. We contrasted Superman and Spider-Man's power sets. Now, Superman has the better power set, let's be honest. He's invulnerable. He can fly. He can move as fast as he wants to. He can shoot heat rays out of his eyes. He can see through walls. He can do pretty much anything the writers need him to do. He's Superman. Spider-Man has some amazing powers, but a much, much more limited power set. Spider-Man can be killed with normal weapons, for example, if they can hit him. Now, he's very fast. He's got that precognitive sense allowing him to, that spider sense allowing him to dodge bullets and so on, but at the end of the day, Spider-Man can be hurt in ways that Superman cannot. But my daughter made an interesting observation, which was that Spider-Man's powers seemed more fun. yeah, it would be cool to be Superman for a while, but then it would start to get boring because you would run out of challenges, and my young daughter recognized that challenges are what makes life so interesting. And she said it would be great to have superpowers, but not too many superpowers. If you're Spider-Man, then it's like a power that's like an enhanced augmentation. Now, I'm paraphrasing here. She didn't say enhanced augmentation, but paraphrase. It's like an enhanced augmentation of your natural physical body. Because what's fun about moving is moving. It's moving your body. You look at Spider-Man, he's doing crazy cool gymnastic movement. He's doing flips. He's jumping through the air. He's using his muscles. He's experiencing the joy of movement. And Superman's just kind of magically flying. Which again would be really fun for a while. But when you have experienced the captivity of a sedentary lifestyle and then made the change to a movement-based lifestyle, you realize the bondage that you found yourself in before, and you would never, ever willingly go back there. And so the idea of a hero, a movement-based hero like Spider-Man, is so incredibly compelling to a child who loves to play, who loves to do cartwheels, who loves to jump, who loves to run, who loves to climb. And I thought, how very interesting. I love that answer so much. So again, as far as stopping all the crime in the world, as far as being bulletproof and all those great things that come along with Superman, yeah, that is technically a superior power set. But Spider-Man, at the end of the day, let's be honest, is more fun. Ghost Dude 45 has a question about Kung Fu. He says, Coach, do you think Kung Fu will be proven in common thought to be effective? And what do you think average Kung Fu practitioners need to do in order to step up their game? Context for the first part is, simply I met a boxer and he heard I practiced martial arts. We are co-workers. When I told him I practiced Kung Fu, his natural response was, oh, so you just dance. Okay. That's largely a question of semantics, my friend. What do you mean by Kung Fu? Kung Fu is a Chinese word which can refer to over 400 different styles of Chinese martial arts. Kung Fu can refer to really any talent or skill. It's generally applied to martial arts. If somebody says 中国 Kung Fu, they mean Chinese martial arts, basically. That could include modern sport wushu, dancing type of forms, sure. It could include old people doing Tai Chi in the park. It could include nerds on the internet chattering about Wing Chun and never ever sparring. It could include Sanda, technically. Even those guys who cross-train in Muay Thai and boxing and wrestling and Taekwondo and all these other non-Chinese martial arts. But the term is also used, here in China anyway, to refer to any great skill, particularly in the martial arts. So I have heard people say that what I do is Meiguo Kung Fu, American Kung Fu. Because I'm an American, so clearly it's not Chinese Kung Fu, it's American Kung Fu. I've heard people call mixed martial arts American Kung Fu. So, yeah, I'm guessing you live in the West. And in the West, right now, in many circles, when you say Kung Fu, people think of forms. They think of wushu. They think of taolu, the forms, you know. And nothing but jumping around, doing butterfly twists in the air, spinning sticks, waving fake swords around. So what of them? Okay. Is that what you do? If what you do is something different, maybe specify a little bit more. Maybe your kung fu style has a specific name. Maybe call it by name instead of just a general term like kung fu, which could be interpreted in one of many hundreds of ways. And at the same time, don't feel bad. If you say, I practice martial arts, a lot of people, from my personal experience, will immediately start karate chopping there, like, oh, so you do this, huh? You could practice a martial art like jiu-jitsu that has no striking whatsoever, and they'll still start karate chopping there, like, oh, so you do this, huh? Because they've seen goofy kung fu movies where guys do this. When you surround yourself with martial artists, it's easy to forget that most people in the world are not martial artists. When you get into an online martial arts discussion community, it kind of makes it seem like everybody in the world is way into martial arts. And that couldn't be farther from the truth. It's a niche kind of thing. Yeah, there are millions of practitioners of martial arts throughout the world, but there are billions of people. And there's a vast difference between millions and billions. So, yeah, if people don't get what you do, so what? So what? If you say, I do mixed martial arts, and in your mind you're thinking, I'm a badass cage fighter, and then they start going, oh, so you do this, huh? Hi-ya, hi-ya. And your impulse is to be like, no, you don't understand. What I do is so much tougher and more manly than that nerdy, wimpy thing you're insinuating. So what? Next. I got a long email from our friend Jason. Jason is living in a city in China, which does not really have much of a jiu-jitsu community, but there is a jiu-jitsu blue belt teaching a class in his town. He took a private lesson, and they did some rolls, some tumbling, which was very similar to what he had done in an Aikido class, which caused him to raise his eyebrows. Like, wait a minute, I thought jiu-jitsu was this badass entry drug to cage fighting or something like that, and we're doing basic Aikido drills. And the instructor went on to show him some movements with no resistance, and that was basically the class. And so Jason was a little concerned. He was like, is this normal for Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu? His final question, as a BJJ instructor who's been living and teaching in China for a long time, I was wondering, has the teaching methodology changed? Should I expect any live rolling in a BJJ class in China? Yeah, you should. The great thing about Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is that you can roll or spar. That's grappling without striking. And when you're in trouble, you tap out. That means let go. We're done. You can do that every day as long as you exercise a few very simple precautions. You can do that every single day without sustaining any major injuries. Nobody has to die. And it's great, and you can keep doing it every day. So if your jiu-jitsu instructor, if your jiu-jitsu school doesn't roll, then go find a new one, because they're doing it wrong. Now, does that mean you have to roll every day? No, but most days, yeah. And on the days where you're not rolling, there should be very specific drilling or very specific positional rolling or sparring to help you with skill acquisition. But man, if there's no rolling, yeah, that's a huge red flag. Go move on. The curriculum has not changed. Jiu-jitsu is a live art. You can't just go through some forms and qualify for excellence in jiu-jitsu, you actually have to lay hands on another human being. Thanks for watching. Now get out there and train.